Chapter 7. The Grand Tour. Gabe is showing the passengers around.
Each berth has 2 beds. There are presently only 2 open berths. The third currently does not hold atmosphere. You will have to decide amongst yourselves who will bunk with whom. Doesn't hold atmosphere?
Prothea sputters. She looks up at Jor-Lu, eyes wide. Gabe nods.
Yes, I have narrowed the problem down to a microfracture somewhere under one of the beds. I have not had time to isolate the problem further. My apologies, I am embarrassed the problem has persisted for several months. This ship keeps me busy.
The 3 scientists and the security officer look at each other. Before anyone can speak, Gabe continues.
The engineering spaces are off limits to passengers without prior approval of the captain, or an escort from the crew. Any questions?
Just then, the computer alerts him over the ship's network that there is a situation. The bot smoothly dedicates more processing power and queries the central computer. A vessel is in orbit, targeting the Ghost, Gabe notes. Interesting. He glances back to his charges and sees them staring at him expectantly.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Jor-Lu raises her hand.
I asked, are there any sections of the ship with higher ceilings?
Gabe now noticed that she is stooped over.
Ah, yes. Please forgive me. I did not notice your discomfort.
He looks around, then says,
The cargo hold has the requisite space. I can work with Zephyr to set up a living space there for the duration of the journey, if you would prefer. The uncomfortable-looking Burzad nods her thanks.
Gabe reaccesses the ship's computer and sees that the engines are powering up. All systems are ready for flight.
For now,
he says,
please follow me to the lounge. I believe we are about to be in an active combat situation, and you should strap in.
He turns and heads back towards the main crew lounge. Wait, what? Myrta demands.
I am not fully aware of all the details, but it would appear that there is a ship in orbit that is actively targeting this vessel. The captain is talking to the other ship, and the Ghost is almost ready for flight operations. I suspect we will be taking off rather abruptly, very soon.
The ship lurches, and everyone but Gabe stumbles. The droid does his best to grab the others, to keep them from hitting the floor too hard. Being able to magnetize his feet helps. They stumble back into the lounge, just as Benny and Maxim are making their way to the hatch leading to the main corridor and the bridge beyond. Do you know what's happening? Maxim asks Gabe.
A ship in orbit was targeting us,
Gabe says.
From what I could gather, the captain was attempting to talk our way out of trouble.
The ship lurches again, and the sound of energy weapons hitting the shields reverberates through the lounge.
I do not believe he was successful,
Gabe adds.
I will be in engineering.
Max turns to Myrta, who has not taken a seat and is now standing next to him. What? I'm head of security and responsible for them. He points back to the seated and moderately terrified-looking scientists. I demand to be on the bridge and to know what's going on, he says, attempting to push past Maxim. He fails to move the ex-peacekeeper even an inch. Maxim looks at Myrta, then the scientist, then down at Benny. Stay with them, he says to the Braylac. Then he steps into the corridor, letting Myrta push past him. Benny stares at the retreating ex-peacekeeper and security officer as the hatch automatically closes.
Wait, what?
He turns back to the scientists.
So it's totally fine. We get shot at a lot, and mostly always win.
At that precise moment, the ship drops, sending Benny flying up to the ceiling, then back down to the deck again.
Ag!
He looks up at Zan and gives her a thumbs up before passing out. Ziggy Stardust attacks. Will looks from Myrta to Maxim and back, then settles his stare on Maxim, who says, Letting him come was easier than fighting with him about it. The Pelorian quickly moves to his station. Will sighs and points to a station no one uses. Sit. Don't touch anything. I'm not a... Myrta begins to protest. No talkie, Will shouts, and for effect banks the ship hard over to port, throwing Myrta against a bulkhead. The ship shudders and the shield emitters can be heard whining through the hull. Zephyr clears her throat.
That was a heavy disruptor blast. That ship has 3 of them.
Maxim, get the weapons spun up. Will says, and fire at will. Maybe aim for those heavy disruptors first. On it. Incoming! Maxim and Zephyr both shout in unison. Will throws the throttle for the Atmo engines all the way forward. There's a massive boom from the back of the ship, and everyone is pushed back hard into their seats. Over the overhead speakers, Gabe scolds.
You're going to burn out the engines.
I know, but we gotta get out of the atmosphere. We can't maneuver down here. To punctuate Will's point, another disruptor blast explodes near the ship, causing dirt and debris to shoot nearly half a kilometer into the air. Will pulls back on his control stick, forcing the repulsor lifts in the wing-mounted engine pods to push even harder, forcing the ship up and out of the atmosphere of Cuprala. As the Ghost leaves the atmosphere, Kohar's ship comes into view. Jesus, that's an ugly ship, Will exclaims, as the Ghost leaves the clouds behind and swings around in a wide arc, coming back onto an intercept course with Kohar's vessel. I mean, right? It looks like a giant goldfish. Without providing any thoughts on the design of the attacking ship, Maxim unleashes a volley of disruptor fire from the forward weapons of the Ghost, along with a pair of missiles. Will watches the energy weapons dance across the shields of what he is mentally calling Mega Goldfish, followed by two explosions, one of which does severe damage to the starboard heavy disruptor assembly of the bounty hunter ship. Damn, dude. Got some aggression stuff to work out. He looks over at Maxim, who simply shrugs. Will turns back to the screen. Open a channel, he says. Zephyr nods and the comm system beeps. Okay, Ziggy Stardust. We've no reason to destroy you, but we totally will. Power down. The primary display switches from a giant metal goldfish, a heavily armed giant metal goldfish, to the scowling face of Ziggy Stardust. You dare? He screams. Sure, dare what? Will looks to Zephyr, who shrugs, then Maxim, who also shrugs.
I'm Kohar. I've hunted bounties in every system of the GC. You can't escape your fate. Surrender now. The bounty doesn't say how many of you have to be alive.
Kohar smirks horribly.
We've collected bounties on countless beings, all of them far tougher than you.
The Ghost shudders as the shields absorb another heavy disruptor blast. Sparks erupt over Myrta, who lets out a yelp. Will growls. I warned you, Ziggy Stardust. I really don't want to kill you and your crew. But you made the choice, not me. Remember that. Well, you know, for the next few minutes at least.
My name isn't Ziggy.
The screen goes black. Then back to the forward view. Mega Goldfish is maneuvering to get a better shot at the Ghost. Will banks around the attacking ship, giving Maxim a chance to rip into its side with their primary disruptors, then accelerates away just as the bounty hunter's ship opens up with smaller point defense weapons. The Ghost shakes and lurches, but its shielding absorbs the damage, barely.
Shields won't hold for long,
Zephyr warns. Won't have to. Ready, Max? Always. The big man grins. Will brings the Ghost around. He's positioned the ship so that they're coming in from just above and behind the larger vessel. Mega Goldfish is attempting to turn enough to bring her port disruptor to bear. Will tuts and slides the ship sideways and down a little. The moment they're in range, Maxim fires 4 missiles from the weapons magazine directly into the lower section of the ship, while never taking his finger off the trigger from the disruptors. The forward and wing-mounted energy weapons blaze out from the Ghost. From overhead, Gabe warns.
Maxim, both primary disruptors are beginning to overheat. In 20 seconds, I'll be forced to shut them both down to avoid more severe damage. The forward emitters are only slightly behind the primaries.
Will looks at the ceiling, then around the room. That's really weird to everyone, right? Gabe, you need to man an engineering station up here from now on. This voice of God thing is disconcerting. On the screen, the enemy ship is being ripped apart by weapons fire. The first 2 missiles impacted on the shields, the second 2 on the hull. Mega Goldfish now has a hole in its side, almost big enough for the Ghost to fly into, though it doesn't yet go all the way through. Will watches as a missile streaks wide of the Ghost as he banks away from their attack run. Without missing a beat, Zephyr switches the primary display to follow the enemy ship. Boom goes the dynamite, Will shouts as the missile hits the ship right in the ghost-sized hull and explodes, breaking the goldfish in two. Secondary explosions rock both halves, and in seconds, there's not much left but a lot of debris. Will lets out a whoop and turns to Maxim. Good shooting, Max. He brings the ghost back towards a heading for the outer system, away from Caprala. It doesn't take long for the ghost to burn out beyond Caprala's gravity well and jump to FTL. Will makes some adjustments on his console, then hops out of his chair and heads for the hatch. Who's hungry? Just along for the ride. Zan is out of her seat in a flash, her small furry frame moving faster than Prethia has ever seen her move. Jorlu and Prethia are right behind her. Zan cradles Benny's head in her hands.
Check his pulse.
Jorlu looks over at her friend.
I'm not a doctor. How do I check for a pulse?
I don't know, Zan barks, taking one of Benny's arms and looking it over. Prethia sighs.
Watch out.
She reaches under the unconscious Braylak's chin and waits a minute before pronouncing,
He's alive.
The ship shudders and shakes, and the lights in the lounge dim.
What's going on?
Jorlu shouts.
I think we're in a space battle,
Zan replies, then slaps Benny across the face.
No, I don't want to wear that. What's going on?
Benny slurs, eyes fluttering. The ship shudders again and his eyes snap wide open.
What's happening?
Prethia helps Benny up as the ship lurches.
Who's attacking us?
He stumbles over to a terminal set into the bulkhead next to the kitchenette.
You guys better sit back down and strap in,
he says, as he reaches for a stool and secures its strap across his lap. He taps a few commands into the terminal, and the room darkens, a tactical map hologram appearing overhead.
Is that a giant Yorlat fish?
Zan asked, pointing to the goldfish ship that's firing on the ghost.
Is this what your life is like all the time?
Jorlu asked.
Is it too late to return to Caprala?
Benny taps another control, and the overhead speaker comes to life with Will's voice. Okay, look, Ziggy Stardust, we've no reason to destroy you, but we totally will. Power down. A voice no one in the lounge recognizes replies.
I'm Kohar. I've hunted bounties in every system of the GC. You can't escape your fate. Surrender now. The bounty doesn't say how many of you have to be alive. We've collected bounties on countless beings, all of them far tougher than you.
Zan looks at Prethia, then back to Benny.
What bounty? What do they mean by bounty?
Benny shrugs.
It's nothing, don't worry about it.
He waves a hand dismissively. The ghost shudders as the shields absorb another heavy disruptor blast. Smoke starts to billow from an overhead panel. Everyone in the room looks at the panel, waiting for it to do something more. Will's voice comes back from the overhead speakers. I warned you, Ziggy Stardust. I really don't want to kill you and your crew, but you made the choice, not me. Remember that. Well, for the next few minutes at least. The irate other party screams, My name is not Ziggy. Jorlu scrunches up her large ears. They watch on the hologram as the ghost swings around. Moments later, 4 red triangles leave the ghost and head for the big fish ship. Each triangle arrives at the ship, then vanishes. The ghost makes a wide turn, then unleashes another red triangle. When the red triangle disappears against the fish ship, the ship flashes 3 times. Then the icon vanishes.
Well, that was exciting,
Jorlu says from her chair, her ears pricked all the way up.
Are you crazy?
Zan snaps.
We almost died. You giant weirdo. You said you wanted to go back to Caprala. But we didn't, and we got to see the crew in action. I don't know about you, but that was exciting. The almost dying part notwithstanding.
The Burzod replies innocently, each eye blinking in turn. Prethia glares at her 2 colleagues, then asks Benny,
That's it? It's over?
He shrugs.
I mean, sure, for now.
For now?
She unlatches her restraint and heads towards Benny with a fierce look on her face. He waves his hands to ward her off.
What? I mean, we get shot at a lot. Remember the whole Harrith thing? I mean, before we got here, we attacked some pirates. Yeep!
He hops off his stool and narrowly dodges a slap.
Just then the holomap fades as the ship jumps into FTL. Will, Zareth, Maxim, and Myrta walk in just as Prathia catches Benny. The four of them look at scientists and hacker, who just stare back at them. Maxim shakes his head.
Do we want to know?
First supper. Standing up so fast his chair flies backwards, Myrta screams,
You will not sell the ship.
Each word is enunciated for emphasis. Maxim has also stood up, his hand going to his hip, where a pulse pistol is holstered. His eyes never leave Myrta's. Will raises his hands in a placating gesture.
Myrta, chill out. I'm just talking about options.
Sit down. Your pizza is going to get cold. Zan tries to break the tension, looks at Will.
What exactly is this pizza, anyway?
Benny, who's sitting next to her, shakes his head.
Don't bother. He'll just say a bunch of words you won't understand, make a bunch of weird gestures.
At this, Benny pantomimes throwing something in the air.
And you'll still not know what pizza is. Just enjoy it, because it's delicious.
While this discussion is taking place, Myrta has calmed himself, righted his chair, and sat down. He glares at Will, then Maxim, and finally Zephyr.
That ship is not yours to sell.
Will nods. You're right, but that doesn't make it yours to give away. He raises his hand to stop another outburst. I'm not saying anything one way or the other. I'm just raising the issue. We've got 15 days before we arrive at the derelict, or whatever it is. That's a lot of meals together, so I figured we should try to get some things out in the open as soon as possible. He smiles.
This might be all for naught.
Maxim chimes in. He slowly takes a bite of pizza, while every eye in the room turns to him, including Jorlu's 3.
Everyone is trying to decide what they'll do with the derelict before they've even gotten to the ship. It could be inoperable. It could be booby-trapped to explode. It could have a crew in cryosleep that will object to any of our plans. He takes another bite.
The big one has a point,
Zan purrs. Her eyes are roaming all over the large Pelorian.
He's spoken for,
Zephyr says, in a voice that contains all the warning that's needed. Her hand slides over to rest on Maxim's arm. The small furry scientist shrugs.
My loss, I'm sure.
She winks at Maxim, who blushes a deep shade of blue. Everyone finds something to look at that isn't anyone else at the table. Benny notices something on the ceiling that is very interesting. Prathia is the first to break the incredibly awkward silence.
Yes, well.
She looks over at Will.
We'll find out when we get there, won't we?
Reaching for another slice of pizza, she asks,
Will, this is from your world. It's amazing.
Will smiles. Earth has a lot going for it. All food. Well, mostly food. Food and porn. Fine, I said it. Everyone at the table stares at him. He puts his slice down. Moving on. The other thing I wanted to get out in the open is the whole bounty hunter thing. He looks around. Jorlu finishes chewing and swallows.
That was quite exciting. I don't think I need a repeat anytime soon, though, but it was fun. After the fact.
She smiles and reaches a long, thin arm across the table, snagging the last slice. Benny eyes her.
Splits?
She nods and rips the slice cleanly in half, her cheeks darkening slightly. Will watches this incredulous. Is there something in the air? He shakes his head. At any rate, bounty hunters. So it's a long story. I'm sure someone will tell it over the next 3 weeks, but the short version is, we owe a crime syndicate some money. Really, we don't. We were framed, but they don't care. I've already transmitted the bounty, plus a little extra to get that particular problem off our backs. Benny looks up at him.
How much extra?
Don't worry. Between what we got from those last pirates, plus the cut the Harrith Navy sent of the rest, we're doing all right. Add in our fee for this little adventure, and yeah, definitely okay. Prathia looks confused.
If you were innocent, why not prove it to them? I assume you know who they really should be after.
Zephyr nods.
We do. He's the one who sold us out.
Will picks up from there. And there's no evidence. When he hired me, it was in a private booth at a bar he owns. Privacy, screens, sound suppression, the works. My wrist comm doesn't even have a log of the hour I was there.
He shrugs. As much as I hate paying, it's the easiest way to put this behind us. I doubt Kohar would have been the only one to try and collect.
Zan looks at Will.
That reminds me. What's a Ziggy Stardust?